Hi, everybody. Welcome to Pace Studio on the Road. We're live right now in Greenpoint, Brooklyn at the Ilegal Mezcal headquarters with Noah Reid. Noah, thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, man, I'm very glad that we were able to make this happen. We've been talking about trying to do it for a while, but scheduling is clearly a beast, I'm sure, between Broadway and television and music career and everything. So we're really glad to be able to connect here today.
Thanks, man. Yeah, scheduling is always fun, but I don't think I've ever been busier in my life. So
yeah, good. Much better than the opposite problem.
I guess so. Yeah. But it's nice to devote some time to playing some music. I haven't done this in a while, so it's really great.
Amazing. Well, Soundcheck has sounded great, and I can't wait to share some of your music with our audience right now. Your third album, Adjustments, comes out on June 24th, and we're about to hear 3 songs from it right now. What do you want to do first?
I'll do Every Day. First song on the record, and first single, and probably I think the first song that I wrote that I felt like I could approach getting back into the studio, knowing that I had this song. It felt like a really. I wrote it actually around the time that I was releasing my second record, Gemini, and was starting to do some kind of like pandemic press about that, and really just wanted to play this song because it felt like it was so true to the moment of the early pandemic days, and true of my experience, and I felt like it it could have offered maybe a little bit of a hug or a handshake at that moment, but it has continued to be true in this god-awful time we're living in, and at least it hasn't like faded in terms of its relevance for me personally. I can't speak to anyone else's experience of it. Picking up rust on the side of the track, thinking I'll never make my money back. I could fill a novel with the I don't knows. Try to find a friend on the radio. Looking in the mirror, feeling proud of the grays. There's not a lot for me to celebrate these days. I roll another joint, but I can't get high. I'm trying to remember what I did last night. And the clouds are getting pretty as the sky gets dark. And wouldn't it be nice to take a walk in the park? I'm hungry for connection, but I don't want to talk. I'd rather stand alone and burn a cardboard box. Give myself a minute just to be upset, then I'll try to breathe it out like a cigarette. Cause I'm pretty lucky and I shouldn't complain, but I guess I kinda thought that things would pretty much stay the same. It's changing. Got a lot to do, but I'm always bored. I wonder when they're handing out all the Darwin Awards. All they say is gonna change, but we don't know when. Man, I don't think that I can talk about it again. And there's no one in the streets on a Friday night. I hope that everybody's getting by alright. So we just pop another bottle and roll the tape. And meet me tonight out by the fire escape. And the clouds are getting pretty as the sky gets dark. Yeah, wouldn't it be nice to take a walk in the park? I'm hungry for connection, but I don't want to talk. I'd rather stand with you and burn a cardboard box. So we just take another minute just to reassess. And we try to breathe it out like a cigarette. Cause I'm pretty lucky and we shouldn't complain, but I guess we kinda figured things would pretty much stay the same. And now it's changing every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. Every day. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, Thank you, man. Thank you for the music. We appreciate it very much. That line, hungry for connection, but I don't want to talk, is so relatable. I mean, I feel like that's, you have said it more eloquently than I've heard anybody else say it. And it's, a big part of the reason that this is fun for me, having this job and being able to do this, is that even if I don't feel like talking, I'm always hungry for connection, like we are as humans. And then having this baked into the job is like, if I'm not feeling like getting out of my shell and putting in the effort to have that connection, I have to, because it's work, and here we are connecting right now. Totally. So it feels really good.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about the way that you balance your schedule? So you're in the minutes right now. You've got a performance later on this evening, and almost every evening there's a whole lot of work going on in your life right now. Do you feel like are there similar parts in your brain that you're utilizing to be on Broadway in front of people and being here playing music in front of people, or do you feel, is there like a separation for you where one thing is one thing and the music thing is a different sort of part of your brain?
I think there's definitely similarities in just the attempt to be comfortable in one's own skin, and for me, like, the work of the last several years has been trying to figure out how to let there be no real difference in my mind, being ready or not being ready. It's just that things are happening when they're happening, and you trust that you've put in the preparation, and that you kind of you know what you're doing, and you can go out and deliver, and really it's more important to be present than anything else. Doing a play, especially the minutes, this is a script by a Pulitzer-winning playwright who I happen to be sharing the stage with, in Tracy Letts, and there's some comfort in knowing that script is there. The play is the play, no matter how you're feeling about your performance that day. You know that on some level the play is being delivered because it is, you have that script to rely on, and in the case of this show, I have 10 other actors that I know I can rely on, and that are brilliant performers, and we're it's like playing with a band in a sense. You kind of there is that feeling of teamwork, and but I think I also, like, I have a character to hide behind it. Like in my Amazon show Out of Range, Billy Tillerson, my character sings quite a bit, and I was like never nervous singing as Billy Tillerson because it was him singing. It wasn't me. I didn't have to, put myself or my heart on the line in the same way as, sitting up here, even doing this, feeling like, okay, well, these are my words. This is my thing that I have to communicate. So it feels a little bit more like you're out on a wire, and there's a vulnerability to it. But that's part of the beauty of music, I think, is you get to, communicate and say things that you might say in song that you might not say in your, a lot of these songs on this album particularly came from just talking to myself and, saying things to myself that I probably wouldn't have said out loud to anybody else. And, so there's that kind of sharing of a secret in a way that feels relevant.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's so. In addition to the rehearsal and practice and making sure that you are ready to deliver on stage, whether that's music or whether that's acting or whether it's television, have you found any personal habits apart from training that keep you in a healthy headspace and ready to communicate musically and acting wise? Like, I mean, meditation, exercise, anything like that you found really keeps you receptive and able to deliver?
Yeah, I wish I was a more routine-oriented person. I think that probably when you get into the groove of being on a tour, you have a couple of things that you rely on doing every time before you go out. I know that, like, doing the minutes, I have a bit of a pre-show ritual that I complete at the half hour, and that allows me to kind of reset. And that's, it's like something as dumb as like brushing my teeth and doing 10 push-ups and, throwing a ball against a wall and like that kind of stuff. That's just like, it's nothing really, but it just allows me to kind of zone in. I don't know that I have that musically. I think for a lot of my musical life, my music has had to find the cracks between my acting work and sort of, find those negative spaces and go, okay, well, I have a minute to play now, or I have a minute to, or a minute or a couple of weeks or a month that I can focus on this and approach it like it's my job and like it's fun. So yeah, I'm not particularly routine oriented with music. I haven't actually been playing very much music at all. I haven't had the
the time or the energy for it. I've in my downtime since I've been here, I've been mostly just like wanting to crash, lie down, and watch a TV show or something. But
which, I mean, that's its own form of preparation. Like, you have to, you have to have that downtime.
Yeah, TV's business for me now too. It's kind of ruined. I watch a lot of sports. That feels like it's it carries that kind of. I can turn my brain off and watch the play develop a little bit. It's enjoyable.
Yeah. I find for me 20 minutes of transcendental meditation and then a shot of Mezcal, so I'm not being too healthy. A little bit healthy and then a little bit the other way, and
that's good balance.
Right in the zone.
That sounds pretty
ready
good.
to go. Well, thank you again so much for coming and doing this. There's still a lot more music to be shared off of Adjustments, which is out on June 24th. What do you want to do second today?
I'll do Minneapolis, which is a tune that I wrote when I was on the Schitt's Creek Live tour and had a day to myself in Minneapolis, which is a town I'd never been to, and a lot of things in my life were shifting. I think that's a common theme of the songs on this record. There's a lot of shifts and adjustments that come after those shifts, and this was just a day where I felt like I had a moment of clarity out there in Minneapolis, and it was kind of just like looking around at the world around me and thinking, wow, I'm a part of this.
We flew into Minnesota, waited at the baggage carousel. We were told there'd be a snowstorm on the drive to some hotel, and the girls were getting facials, and the boys weren't feeling well. So I got out and started walking, but to where I couldn't tell. Minneapolis was empty, had an old Midwestern vibe. I had my yellow leather gloves on, and it was nice and cold outside. I had a beer in some old bar room, I was the only person there, except for one young couple with a boy in a wheelchair. Started walking to the sound check, through the twilight empty streets, past a mural of Bob Dylan, while I was listening to Tom Waits. I read a poem in the green room, out loud for all to hear. And it meant nothing to anyone else, but I didn't really care. And up on stage we talked in circles. Every night's about the same. There's nowhere else that I hear cheering when someone says my name. Then we climbed into a private jet, take us out of town. Ooh, and I thought we might not make it as the snow was coming down.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Noah. Can we talk a little bit about your music heroes and who are some of the songwriters who have been important to you over the years, whether stuff you grew up with or stuff that you've been listening to a lot recently that sort of informs some of the musical vocabulary on Adjustments?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, a couple of the real touchstones for me in that song that I mentioned, Bob Dylan and Tom Waits. I think, two of the great songwriters and such personality and I mean, talk about adjustments. Both of those guys have reinvented themselves as artists so many times throughout their career, and they're not. There's something so atypical about both of them, something so singular about them, and I think in that song, to me, to be in the Twin Cities, and those are kind of my two big heroes. I was listening to Rain Dogs and walking around the streets, and there's this huge mural of Dylan that says the times there are changing, and it's him in three different eras, and it's just so stunning. So to me, to have those guys are always in my head when it comes to the great songwriters. I think the 70s and the 60s and 70s obviously are kind of the just an amazing era for music and people creating and ideas and songwriting and people who can play their own instruments and all of that stuff. I mean, like Paul Simon and Leonard Cohen and Joni Mitchell and Neil Young and these people that I grew up listening to, my parents' music really. But then like the piano, I mean, Tom Waits has a lot of great piano songs. Nina Simone's a big one for me. Her live stuff is just crazy, and her ability to just drop in and say whatever is on her mind, I think it was kind of unparalleled. If you have like hours to kill, just go on YouTube and watch Nina Simone live videos, and she's just so remarkable. An artist I really love nowadays is Leif Vollebeck. He does some very, very cool. I mean, I feel like he's got such a kind of, there's like a physical vocabulary to his music, and
so many keyboards, man. Last time we recorded with him, there was a stack of like 6 keys around him.
No kidding. I mean, it kind of all comes down to the whirly. I feel like that's the central piece of it for him. Also a great piano player and a guitar player, and vocalist. I really enjoy his stuff a lot. I find that like I go through periods of like not listening to any music at all, which is bizarre. Usually those are the times when I'm writing the most music. And then there will be times where I'm not writing any music at all and I'm just listening to music. And I'm, try to challenge myself to kind of get out and listen to things that are outside my strike zone a little bit. I haven't delved into Kendrick's new record yet, but I feel like that's, I grew up in the time period where like I got caught kind of between, the pop punk era and then like totally rejecting that in favor of like what I determined to be real punk when I was in, grade 7.
We had Simple Plan in here earlier this week.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's hilarious, man. Yeah, I mean, I saw those guys in concert when I was in grade 7 or something, and then like by the time I was in grade 8, I wouldn't ever go near their record. Like it was like that kind of weird thing when you're a kid and you're like shifting gears so quickly between the things that you loved become the things that you like completely reject. Then I took a hard turn towards hip hop, and I think that the rhythm of that still has a lot to do with the way that I kind of think about lyrics and rhyme and rhythm, and So yeah, I don't know. I'm all over the place. I kind of think about music as character in a way, and different, trying to infuse different songs with different feelings. And my good friend Matt Barber, who's produced all 3 of my records, and we've always talked about, okay, what's the next record feel like it wants to sound like, and where do we want to expand a little bit. And I think with this one we focused a lot on texture and the rhythm section, and just trying to make it feel maybe a little more contemporary, and a lot of the songs have to do with what's happening right now in the last couple of years, and so it wanted to feel like it was quite actively present. I've just gone on a long-winded rant that has nothing to do with your question. But.
I enjoyed everything about it, man. And just when you were talking just now about a hard turn into hip hop, and I mean you're playing folk music style right now. I was thinking about. So I've told you offline that we had Steve Earle in here yesterday. Yeah. He's got this great quote that says hip hop is folk music too, right. Where he's saying storytelling is storytelling, regardless of whether you're doing that with 808s and an MPC or whether you're doing it with a guitar. It's you're telling a story and communicating a similar sort of a feeling.
100%. I think that's the thing that I connect the most with music. It's not so much about the genre. It's about the narrative, and stories are where we can. That's where we find common ground with each other and understand something about something outside of your own experience that makes sense within your own experience. It's like that's where connectivity happens. And obviously, as an actor, storytelling is a big part of it. Character's a big part of it. Entertainment's a big part of it, and stories are entertaining. All of these songs to me feel like they're stories of my life. I'm the character in the story, for once, as opposed to interpreting another character in somebody else's story. I get to kind of embody it, and that's I think that's what keeps me writing.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for sharing all this with us. And speaking of Leif Vollebek's Whirly, we do not have a Wurlitzer organ here. We do have a Wurlitzer brand upright piano. Yeah. You ready for an instrumentation shift and a third song?
Let's do it.
All right.
Oh, it's so nice to play a piano. She sounds good. This song is the second song on Adjustments, and I really like it, and I wanted to make it a single, and I didn't. So this is the first time that anybody will likely hear this song. It's called Left Behind. Play this with a band. I think I'm being left behind again. It does seem to happen every now and then. No point trying to pretend. I think I'm being left behind again. Well, that's alright, you go on ahead. I'm hanging back while I'm staying in bed. Close my eyes and count to 10. And think of being left behind again. And this feeling, well, it comes and it goes, yeah. There's something about it that I like, I suppose, oh yeah. And I miss you from this place that I stand, oh yeah. Just can't go with you, it ain't part of the plan. But don't you worry, I'll be fine. I'm moving forward, I'm just taking my time. Well, it's finally sinking in. I
I think I'm being left behind again. And I don't want nobody waiting for me, no, no. I'll make my own way, don't want nothing for free, yeah, yeah. I'll just keep moving down this road I've been on, oh, yeah. Get what I need when I can't get what I want, yeah. I hope I see you down the line. And if your car breaks down, you're welcome in mine. Not giving up, not giving in. I'm not trying to run against the wind. I'm not trying to change the shape I'm in. I'm just being left behind.
Thanks very much.
All right. Noah, this has been a total pleasure, man. Thank you for sharing your day with us today, and have a wonderful performance on Broadway this evening and all of the upcoming shows. You're here through August, right? The run is through August?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, well, enjoy that very much, and best of luck on Adjustments. That's out in the world on June 24th, and thank you for sharing the music from it with us today.
Thanks very much. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
All right, then we'll see you next time.
Okay.
That's that. We did it.
Here we go.